Ellis Cox was just 19 years old when he was fatally shot at an industrial estate in Liverpool. And now his family are calling for an end to the no-grassing culture, which they say is stopping his killers from facing justice.
Well, Ellis's mum, Carolyn Cox, and Ellis's aunt, Julie O'Toole, join us now. I'm so sorry that you're here this morning, although I am glad you are here, because you obviously have this campaign to tell people to break the silence. Just before we get going, just to establish, the detectives investigating do not believe Ellis was the target of this shooting. They think his death may be linked to an ongoing street dispute, but that Ellis himself had no links to crime at all. That must be one of the things you have to address regularly.
Yes. Yes.
So tell us about Ellis and how he got caught up in what happened.
Ellis went on a bike ride. It was a sunny day. It was unusual for him to go out because he was always at home. Right. He was always just on his PlayStation, or he was he had just two best friends. If he wasn't at home, he'd go to his friends just to watch the football, and then he was either on his PlayStation or he was with his cousins, his brother or his uncle. So it was a rarity, but it was sunny. And he said a group of friends were going on a bike ride, but he left the house to meet them. So it wasn't his best friends. He said he just knew them from school. But because they'd already left, I didn't see them.
Right.
Because
so you don't know who they were?
No.
This group of friends?
Yes.
He goes and meets them.
Yes.
And then this terrible shooting happens with two other people on bikes.
Yes.
Julie, tell us about how hard it is then in this situation when police are investigating. People call it snitching, people call it grassing. There's a kind of misplaced and actually almost criminally complicit code of honour that happens, isn't there? And it doesn't help because you want to know what happened to your nephew.
Exactly. I think this is a world that we've been thrown into, so we don't know this world, and ultimately there's people who maybe it's their world and they understand it, and this no-grass culture comes from that of you don't tell on your friends or your brother or your cousin. So it's something that we just obviously don't understand, and that's why we keep campaigning, not just for those people to come forward, maybe who were there that night, but also their mums, their dads, their brothers, their sisters, you know.
And it was an accident, as far as anybody knows.
Yes.
So whoever did this knows that they did it, but it was an accident. It seems cowardly not to come forward and tell people what happened. And if you were there and you saw it happen, it also feels really cowardly not to come forward and, you know, if they won't, it's your duty to tell you and tell everybody what happened.
Yes, and that's why we constantly do all our campaigns, because we know the parents, the cousins, the brothers, the friends, people know, but this wall of silence, nobody's helping us. So we keep campaigning, we beg anybody with any information, big or small, because we know people know, but it's this wall that...
And the police have interviewed lots of people. Have the police done their best?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, the police have been amazing, haven't they? We've got the best support from the police and the best team of people around us, and I think they're really... I think they're still amazed by how much we're doing, because as a family, every month we do something to appeal, and it's obviously we think of the next month and we just keep going until we get the answers that we need. And I think the police are really pleased that we're supporting that, and, you know, that as a family that we just keep going because we want them to get the answers for us.
You say it was an accident, but someone went out deliberately with a gun that day.
That's right.
And shot, and deliberately shot. You know, there's nothing accidental about that.
But they weren't intending, as far as we know, to kill Ellis.
But that culture that is around, and particularly, I think people watching will think, what's going on in Liverpool? Because Ellis isn't alone in this.
No.
There have been a number of these cases.
Yes.
What have police told you about breaking through? Because in other cases, there have been convictions.
Yes.
Do police suggest there is a way to appeal, to, perhaps as, you know, you sitting here as a mum, is it appealing to someone's mum?
Yes.
And saying it could be your son who was caught up in this? Do the right thing.
Exactly. We said that on our press conference on Friday. I appeal to the parents, to the mum, because if they know, put yourself in my shoes. How would you feel? I haven't seen my baby for 12 months. How would you live without your child? I'm living without mine. So, said their conscience.
Of course.
How do they think I feel? And just even not parents, any relative, if they know anything, just search your conscience, because it might happen again to someone else's child.
And it might happen to their child.
Exactly.
Because we know that people who carry weapons are at risk.
Yeah.
As well, of course, as well,
And like
aren't
you
they?
say, they've gone out with this weapon. Because we always say, when we're going out, we have our phone, our purse, our wallet and our keys. Do these people go, I've got my phone, I've got my weapon? You know, so they're going out with these weapons to cause this.
You referred to Ellis as your baby.
Yes.
And in the report, we called him a gentle giant.
Yes.
What was happening in Ellis's life, before he was tragically killed? Was he at school? Was he at college? Was he working? Tell us what his plans were. What was the Ellis's future, which was taken away?
Yes. Ellis worked with his uncles and his brother, and he was up every morning for work. And his plans, he always talked about his big dreams. He wanted to travel. He wanted to. His first dream was Thailand, and then on to Australia. He was very mature for his age. He was my baby, but he was 19, but he was very mature. He knew what he wanted to do, and it's been taken away from him. And
there'll be so many mums and so many brothers and sisters who've got, a son or a sibling like Ellis, who will listen to you there and think,
yes,
that could be my brother, that could be my son.
Carolyn, I wonder, you have a national audience here this morning. If you speak directly down the camera, it's camera 3 or camera 4. What would you like to say to anyone and everyone who has information that could unlock this case, that could enable you to find out what happened to your son and get justice for him? Tell them on camera 4, what would you like to say?
I would just beg anybody who can help us get the people who took Ellis from us. Anything big or small, just help us try and get the people who took him from us off the streets so we can get justice for him. Because the only thing we can do now is all our campaigns, because we haven't got Ellis no more.
And you can call Crime Stoppers. The number is actually on your jerseys, 101, or anonymously on 0800 555 111. And I know you've got posters up with a QR code.
Yeah, QR code.
So that if anybody knows and they just want to do it anonymously, they can do that there. Thank you both.
Thank you very much.
And huge good luck. I know the police have managed to get breakthroughs in other cases. And let's hope that your appeal this morning gets a breakthrough in your son's case as well.
I'm so sorry that you lost Ellis.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Loads of love to you.
Thank you very much.
OK, if you're affected by any of the issues we discuss, you can find advice and support itv.com/helplines.